I'm Staff Sergeant Marty Stander with the United States Army Service Pistol Team. Today I'd like to talk about alternate shooting positions and how your kit might influence how you achieve those. The first position I'd like to go over is the single knee position. I like this position because it allows a lot of mobility as you can quickly get into and out of it. It's very easy to achieve. All you have to do is, as you're drawing or if you're already moving, you just take one step forward, present the pistol, and then you can get out of it with just one step forward or backwards, like so. Another variation of the kneeling is the double knee position. This one affords you a lot of stability, but it doesn't allow you to get into and out of it as quickly as a single knee. For the double knee, you can sit on your feet or you can come up a little bit higher. I prefer to sit on my feet if I have the time and opportunity because this gives me a very stable shooting platform. One thing that's often overlooked is how your gear might affect what position you can get into or out of, which affords you different opportunities to engage a target or not be able to. So one thing to consider is keeping it as slick as possible across the front of your plate carrier. This will determine what kind of prone you can get in, what kind of terrain will mask you or not. And it's a lot easier to go through doorways or vehicles if you have it slick across the front and on the sides as well. If you'll notice, I've got a standard basic load here. If I had a rifle with me, I'd have one in the magazine as well, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 here on my belt. So I've got a standard load, but as you can see, I'm not very bulky at all, and I can generally hang and stand and everything else like I normally would. I want my kit to work for me and not the other way around. One of the things I like to do whenever I add or remove a piece of kit, if I think it's gonna work for me, is I wanna either go through an obstacle course, and if that's not available, then I'll just do a simple, some squats, make sure I can move as naturally as I can. Can I bend over? Can I pick things up? Can I twist? And how does that affect my movement? Because if I'm not able to move as I normally would, then it's not gonna work for me. I wanna remove that piece of kit. And so as you can see, I've got angled mag pouches, which allows me to bend over like I naturally would. In addition to staying slick across the front, I wanna stay as slick across the sides as well. This affords me a clean draw stroke without getting caught up on too much gear. Same thing with the reload. If I'm gonna reload my pistol, I can do the same thing without getting caught up on any additional pieces of kit. One of my main goals whenever I set up my kit is mobility. I want to be able to move as naturally as possible. One of the side benefits of having my pistol mounted to my belt is no matter what I'm doing, it's always in the same position. So if it's down here on my knee and I'm running or I'm walking or I'm in a kneeling position, instead of being in a different spot every time, it's always right here on my hip. So my draw stroke remains the exact same. The most stable position that you're going to be able to achieve with a pistol is going to be the prone position. Now, the prone has its setbacks, right? It's going to take longer to get into and out of, but it does afford you the most stability that you're going to have. All right, so some things to consider is, does my gear even allow me to get into the prone in the first place? Does it even make the prone worth it? So one thing that I like to do is when I get down into the prone is I like to put my cheek against my firing arm. And what this does is it gives me a benefit of being able to have equal height and equal light with the pistol. I want to keep my pistol as vertical as possible. When I start to induce cant, this is going to affect where my shots hit relative to my sights. Another thing is my kit itself, my body armor or my belt. If I have too much bulk across the front, I might not be able to get into a good low prone position. One of my main goals once I'm in the prone position is staying behind the gun just like I normally would, whether I'm in the standing or the kneeling position. Again, I don't want too much to change regardless of which position I'm in. One thing you might notice is when you get down on the prone is that you're not able to get behind the pistol like you normally would because of the gear that you might be wearing. So one thing that you can do is hike up your non-firing leg, and what this does is it helps rotate your hips to clear your body armor, or your plate carrier, or your chest rig, or whatever it is you might have on, and allows you to get behind the pistol just like you normally would. Consider your pouches and what they're doing for you when you place them on your kit. For example, I have a tourniquet here where I can get to it with either hand right up front. I don't have to search for it behind my back. I don't have to try to grab for it in the darkness. If I'm missing an arm, I get to it with the other one and put a tourniquet on. So I like to have my tourniquets center mounted so it's easily accessible with either hand. Another thing is having an IFAK on my belt. The reason why I like having it on my belt instead of my plate carrier is there are times when I'm practicing on the range, I might want to have just a slit kit, and this way I'm always safe, and I've always got medical equipment and a tourniquet, even if I'm not, fully kitted up with a plate carrier and a helmet.
Ready, stand by. Stand by.